Hey everyone, I've noticed that many of you are enjoying the videos, but most of you haven't subscribed yet. We're super close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and your support could help us reach that milestone. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It really makes a huge difference and helps us keep creating more awesome content. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. I sit in the kitchen, the soft hum of the refrigerator the only sound cutting through the stillness of the morning. My hand is wrapped around a steaming cup of black coffee, fingers tapping absently on the ceramic, and I can't shake the feeling that something's off. I glance at my phone out of habit, scrolling through the emails, news feeds, the same routine every day, yet today it feels different, hollow. There's a weight hanging in the air, thick, almost tangible. I check my messages, nothing new from Emily. She's supposed to be at another conference, some big marketing summit in Chicago. A last-minute trip that popped up just a few days ago. I've always supported her career, pushed her to climb the ladder, even when it took her away from home. We'd been good together once. Hell, we were the envy of our friends. The couple that had it all. A solid marriage, great jobs, money in the bank. But lately, it feels like the distance between us isn't just physical. Something's changed. It started small, little things. A sudden uptick in these business trips. Her phone never out of reach, always face down on the counter. The way she used to kiss me goodbye before leaving for work, slow and lingering, that stopped. Now it's a peck on the cheek, a formality, like clocking in at the office. I shake my head, trying to push the thoughts away. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Paranoia creeping in where it doesn't belong. But the silence stretches on. Emily hasn't replied to my texts since last night. That sinking feeling in my gut stirs again. I send her a quick, casual message, something harmless. Hope the meeting's going well. Miss you. The little bubble shows the message has been delivered, but there's no response. I tell myself it's nothing. She's busy, probably in meetings. Still, there's this gnawing at the edges of my mind, a slow, creeping sense of unease that I can't seem to shake. I push back from the table, staring out the window at the perfectly manicured lawn. On the surface, everything in our life is flawless. The house is beautiful, the neighborhood pristine, the kind of life people dream about. But when did it start to feel so empty? When did I start feeling like a guest in my own home? I think back to the last time we went out together, dinner at a trendy new restaurant downtown. Emily looked amazing that night in a red dress that turned heads. But she spent most of the meal checking her phone, smiling at something on the screen, lost in her own world. I didn't ask who she was talking to. I should have, but I didn't. I've been choosing not to see things for a while now. My phone buzzes, dragging me from my thoughts. It's a calendar reminder. Some investment meeting later today. Another routine task. Another reminder of the life I've built. I used to love my work, building portfolios, managing risk, making clients rich. Now I feel like I'm just going through the motions. The house feels too quiet without her. I wander upstairs to the bedroom, glancing at the bed that seems too big, too empty. Emily's side is meticulously made, her scent still lingering on the pillow. A part of me hates how much I miss her when she's gone. Another part of me wonders if I'm a fool for still missing her at all. I open her closet, scanning the rows of clothes, the neat organization of shoes. She's always been precise, orderly. But something's off here, too. A few dresses are missing, ones I haven't seen her wear in a while. The expensive ones. I remember her packing for this trip, just the usual work attire, she said. But those dresses aren't for business conferences. They're for something else, for someone else. I step back, shaking off the thought. I'm just reading too much into things. Maybe she packed them for a dinner with clients. That's it. Still, a knot of unease twists in my stomach, and I walk over to the bathroom. The sight of her makeup bag, half unzipped, brushes scattered across the counter. It feels strange, too deliberate, too staged. Like she left in a hurry, like she didn't care if I noticed. I glance at the mirror and catch my own reflection staring back at me. Haunted eyes, jaw clenched. I don't look like a man in control of his life. I look like someone who's losing his grip piece by piece. I can't stay in this house anymore. I grab my jacket and head for the door, needing air, space to clear my head. As I step outside, the crisp morning air hits me, but it doesn't shake the sense of something lurking just beneath the surface. I find myself driving aimlessly through the neighborhood, the familiar streets passing by in a blur. My mind races, replaying the subtle shifts in Emily's behavior over the past few months, the unexplained absences, the late-night showers when she thought I was asleep. A memory surfaces unbidden. A few weeks ago, I woke up in the middle of the night to find her sitting on the edge of the bed, her phone glowing in her hand. She was smiling at something on the screen. When I asked what she was doing, she brushed it off, said she couldn't sleep, just catching up on emails. I didn't push her. I should have pushed her. I pull into the parking lot of a coffee shop, the need for caffeine overpowering my aimless drive. Inside, I sit by the window sipping my coffee, my mind spiraling. I grab my phone again and open our joint credit card account, a routine I've fallen into lately, checking her spending, looking for any signs. I scroll through the charges, most of them familiar. Groceries, gas, dinners out. Then I see it, a charge from last weekend, a hotel in the city. I stare at it, my heart hammering in my chest. She told me she was at a work conference in Cleveland. But this charge is from a hotel downtown, the same weekend she said she was away. I can feel the walls closing in, the room shrinking around me as I process what this means. My first instinct is to call her, to demand an explanation. But I stop myself. What would I say? I need to be sure. I can't let her know I'm onto her, not yet. Instead, I sit back in the chair, my mind racing, trying to make sense of this. Why would she lie about where she was? And who was she with? The coffee turns bitter in my mouth as I scroll through more of the transactions. There are other charges too. Restaurants we never go to, places she's visited when she was supposedly working late. My hands are shaking now, and I force myself to breathe, to think. I need more than this, more than just suspicions. I need proof. Back at home, I pace the length of the living room, the ticking of the wall clock grating against my nerves. I tell myself to wait, to play it cool. Don't confront her yet, not until I'm certain. But the tension is coiling tighter and tighter inside me. Every tick of the clock, another reminder of how little control I have over my own life right now. When I hear the door, my breath catches. Emily walks in, all smiles, carrying her luggage like it's just another normal day. She kisses me on the cheek, asks how my day was, and I can't bring myself to respond with more than a grunt. My eyes follow her as she heads upstairs to unpack. Every step she takes, another nail in the coffin of our marriage. I need to know the truth. Later that evening, after dinner, we're sitting on the couch, her feet tucked under her phone resting in her lap. I make my move casually, as though it means nothing. I saw a charge on the credit card, a hotel downtown last weekend. Thought you were in Cleveland. She doesn't flinch, doesn't miss a beat. Oh yeah, I had to stay over a night before my flight. There was a scheduling issue. She smiles almost too easily, like she's had that answer prepared for days. I nod, forcing myself to look away, to pretend like I believe her. But the unease inside me hardens into something darker, something cold. She's lying to my face, and now I know it. As I lie in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, her body curled up beside me, I can feel the distance between us widening, the gap now impossible to bridge. The woman I married, the woman I built my life around, is a stranger. And she doesn't even realize that I've started to see her for what she is. Tomorrow, I'll start digging deeper. Tomorrow, the real work begins. The next morning, I woke up with a plan. Half-formed, but something I could hold on to. Something that would steady me as I waded deeper into this mess. Emily was already out of bed, the bathroom light leaking into the hallway, the sound of water running behind the closed door. I laid there, staring at the ceiling, my thoughts spiraling. I couldn't let on that I knew. Not yet. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand and opened the Find My Phone app, an app we'd both installed for emergencies, but one Emily seemed to have forgotten about. My fingers hovered over her name. I had never used it before, never had a reason to. But now, as I tapped her name and watched the small blue dot pop up on the map, I felt a sick sort of satisfaction. The dot blinked at me, showing her location at home, right where she was supposed to be. But I knew it wouldn't always be there. I'd wait, watch, track her moves when she left the house. I had to be careful, methodical. This couldn't be rushed. When she stepped out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, her hair still wet, I pretended to be half asleep, rolling over with a yawn. "Morning," she said softly, almost too casually. I grunted a response, burying my face in the pillow. I could hear her getting dressed, the soft rustle of fabric, and the metallic clink of her watch as she fastened it. Everything she did now had a different texture to it, like the sound of betrayal. I felt every movement, every shift, in a new, painful way. She left the house before I did, offering a quick goodbye kiss, her lips brushing my cheek without warmth, like we were going through the motions of a life that didn't exist anymore. Once the door shut behind her, I grabbed my phone again, opening the app. I watched the blue dot moving, driving across town. My breath caught in my throat as it didn't head toward her office, but instead straight to the other side of the city, downtown, near the hotel where I'd seen the charge. She wasn't even trying to hide it. A cold anger flooded me, spreading through my veins like ice. This was it. Proof. She wasn't just cheating, she was careless about it, confident I wouldn't notice, or worse, convinced I was too weak to do anything if I did. I knew where she'd be tonight. I had the perfect excuse to follow her. Another business trip, another set of lies. I told myself to stay calm, to hold on to the plan forming in my mind. This couldn't be about rage or emotion. If I was going to destroy her, I had to do it smart. The day dragged on, my focus slipping in and out as I moved through the motions of work. Meetings, phone calls, none of it mattered. My mind was elsewhere, occupied with the image of her in that hotel, with him. Whoever he was. A name I didn't know yet, but I would soon enough. It didn't matter who he was. Not really. He was just a piece of the puzzle, a means to an end. By mid-afternoon, I was ready. Emily had texted me saying she'd be staying overnight in the city for meetings. She even added a smiley face at the end of the message, like she'd gotten away with something. My hand tightened around the phone as I read it, my jaw clenched. I told her to have a good time, forced myself to add a heart emoji at the end, playing the part of the oblivious husband. But I wasn't that man anymore. Not even close. I left work early, driving across town toward the same hotel. I didn't know what I'd do when I got there, but I had to see it. See them together. I parked in a lot across from the hotel entrance and waited. The minutes crawled by, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I kept glancing at the app on my phone, watching her location, knowing she was inside that building, but I needed more. I needed to catch her in the act. And then, there they were. Emily walked out of the hotel, laughing, her arm casually linked through another man's. He was tall, clean-cut, wearing a suit like he just came from work. They looked comfortable together, as if they'd done this 100 times before. My heart slammed against my ribcage as I watched them stroll down the street like it was nothing, like I didn't exist. She turned to him, leaning up to kiss him. Slow, deliberate, the kind of kiss she used to give me. I wanted to get out of the car. Wanted to walk right up to them, grab her by the arm, demand an explanation, scream in her face. But I didn't. I forced myself to sit there, watching through the windshield, my breathing shallow, my heart thundering in my chest. They didn't know I was there. They didn't know that I'd already seen everything I needed to see. The anger was gone now, replaced by something colder, clearer. Revenge wasn't just an idea anymore. It was a need. That night, I drove home in silence, the radio off, the city lights blurring past me as I planned my next move. Confronting her now would be useless. She'd lie, twist the story, make me out to be paranoid. No, I had to be smarter than that. I needed time to think, to plan. I had the evidence. I'd seen it with my own eyes. That was enough for now. I could use it, let it fester inside her life like a slow-acting poison, unraveling everything she thought she had. When I got home, the house felt different. The air was heavier, the shadows longer. Everything seemed darker, more sinister. I stood in the doorway for a moment, staring at the framed photos lining the walls. Smiling faces, happy memories, all lies now. I couldn't even look at them anymore. I walked up the stairs, each step feeling like I was ascending into someone else's life, someone else's home. I stood at the entrance to our bedroom, my eyes falling on the bed we shared, the place where we'd made love, where we'd whispered promises to each other. Now it was just another reminder of the life she'd destroyed. I lay down beside her later that night, her body curled up next to mine, her breathing steady and peaceful. She had no idea. She didn't know that everything she'd built, everything she thought she'd taken from me, was about to come crashing down. I stared up at the ceiling, wide awake, my mind racing, already planning the next steps. The next few days, I played the role of the oblivious husband perfectly. I kissed her goodbye in the mornings, asked about her day when she came home. I even smiled when she mentioned another trip coming up. Inside, I was gathering everything I needed: texts, emails, photos. I spent hours after work digging through her messages, tracking her location, watching her movements like a predator stalking its prey. I didn't know his name yet, but I would. I'd find out everything there was to know about him. I'd rip his life apart just like I was going to rip hers. But it had to be done right. One wrong move and she'd slip away. She'd blame me, turn the tables, make me the bad guy. Not this time. I watched her more closely now, noted every lie that slipped from her lips, every fake smile she offered me over dinner. She had no idea I was watching her every move, no idea that the walls were closing in. On the third night, I cracked her phone password while she was asleep. It was something she hadn't bothered to change in years. That's the thing about people. They get comfortable. They don't expect betrayal from the ones who've always had their back. But I wasn't that person anymore. I scrolled through her messages, careful not to open anything that would alert her. There it was, a text thread with someone named Eric. The tone of their conversation was intimate, flirtatious, laced with inside jokes and subtle mentions of secret meetups. My stomach turned as I read through the thread, the confirmation of what I already knew sinking in. He was married too. Perfect. That was leverage I could use. I copied everything, took screenshots, backed it all up. I spent the next few hours doing the same with her emails, finding meeting confirmations, flight bookings, all under the guise of work, but the locations and dates matched up too perfectly with her weekends away. My hands moved mechanically, saving everything, gathering all the evidence I needed to destroy her. By the time the sun started creeping over the horizon, I had enough. Enough to ruin her life. Enough to burn everything she thought she had to the ground. I sat on the edge of the bed, looking out the window as the day began. Emily stirred beside me, oblivious, stretching her arm across the empty space where I used to lie. The house felt suffocating now, every corner of it tainted by the knowledge of what she'd done. Every memory we'd built here crumbled to dust in my mind. I had no intention of keeping it anymore. It didn't belong to me. Not really. It belonged to the man I used to be. I turned to look at her as she shifted, still half asleep, her face peaceful, relaxed. She had no idea what was coming. And I was going to make sure she never saw it until it was too late. I won't rush this. That thought pulses in my head as I sit at my desk the next morning, Emily long gone to another day at the office. Every fiber of me wants to explode, to lash out, to tear her world apart right now. But that would be too easy, too reckless. I've been smart up until now, patient. If I play this right, I can strip everything from her, piece by piece, until she has nothing left. The plan's starting to form in my mind, disjointed, but solidifying. I'll start with her lover, Eric. If I'm going to dismantle her life, I need to know exactly who he is, what kind of power he holds, and where I can hit him where it hurts. The affair won't just wreck her life, it'll wreck his too. I open my laptop, the glare from the screen washing over me as I dive into Eric's world. A quick search through her phone last night gave me his full name, Eric Landon. Married, 2 kids. Works at the same company as Emily, a VP of marketing. Perfect. He has more to lose than I thought, and I'm going to make sure he loses it all. A few clicks lead me to his social media profiles, a curated life of weekend family trips, networking events, and board meetings. He looks like the kind of man who thinks he can have it all: money, power, the perfect family, and my wife on the side. I want to rip his world apart, make him pay for every laugh they shared, every kiss they stole behind my back. But this isn't just about him. It's about Emily. She thought she could walk away from our life together and build something with him. Take my money, take my trust, and leave me with the scraps. That won't happen. I scanned through Eric's photos, saving anything that might be useful later. He has no idea I exist in this world he's created with Emily. Not yet, but he will. By the time Emily comes home that evening, I've built a folder filled with everything I need. Pictures, texts, emails between the two of them. Solid proof of the affair. I watch her as she steps through the front door, her face flushed from whatever bullshit meeting she's coming from. There's a lightness in her step, a smile she can't quite hide. She's happy, carefree. She thinks she's winning. The sight of her acting so normal makes my stomach churn. Every word she says feels rehearsed now, her excuses sharp, well practiced. She mentions that she might need to go to Cleveland again next weekend. More meetings, more last-minute travel. I nod along, pretending to care. She has no idea that I've been in her phone, reading her messages, tracking her moves. Sounds good, I say. Let me know if you need help packing. I can see her relax at my nonchalance. She still thinks she's gotten away with it. I can't wait to wipe that smug look off her face. The following day, I take the first step. Subtle, almost imperceptible, but it's the beginning of her downfall. I pull up our joint bank account and begin transferring small amounts of money into an account she doesn't know exists. Nothing that will set off alarms, just enough to begin siphoning away what she thinks is half hers. Every transfer feels like a small victory, another thread loosened from the fabric of the life she's built. I've got time. This part of the plan is slow, careful. Next, I draft an anonymous email to her company's HR department. It's a simple tip about an inappropriate workplace relationship. No names yet, no specifics, but enough to plant the seed. Corporate environments thrive on whispers. It won't take much to start the rumor mill churning, to make her life at work feel shaky. She's climbed so high in her career that the fall will be spectacular. I hit send and sit back, waiting. It's later that night when the first complication hits me. Emily's asleep, curled up beside me like nothing's wrong in the world. I'm staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with the details of my next steps, when I feel her shift beside me. I turn my head slightly, watching her out of the corner of my eye. Her hand drifts to her stomach, resting there for a moment, her lips parting in a soft breath. It takes me a second to realize what I'm seeing, but once it clicks, I feel the room spin. No way. I don't sleep that night. I lie there staring at the darkness, my mind going to war with itself. The signs have been there. The nausea she's brushed off, the changes in her appetite, the way she's been more tired than usual. All things I chalked up to stress or her secret life with Eric. But what if she's pregnant? What if she's carrying his child? The thought makes me nauseous. I feel a cold sweat break out on the back of my neck as I imagine her with his baby. Them, starting a new life together while I'm left in the ruins of what we built. My plan to destroy her life suddenly feels more complicated, more twisted. And then another thought creeps in. What if it's mine? The next day, I can't focus on work. Every time I try to push forward with my plan, the thought of her being pregnant pulls me back. I'm torn between the need for revenge and the possibility that this child could be mine. What would it mean for me to take everything from her if I'm the father? What kind of life would that child have? I shake my head, trying to shove the thoughts aside. It doesn't matter. Even if the child is mine, I can't let that stop me. Emily has to pay for what she's done. There's no way around it. I decide to dig deeper into her life, desperate for something to focus on besides the potential pregnancy. I hack into her work emails, something I've avoided until now. The messages between her and Eric are there, of course, but that's not what catches my attention. It's an old email thread, something from over a year ago. A client issue she mentioned once, something she brushed off as a misunderstanding. But the thread tells a different story. There was no misunderstanding. She'd been skimming funds from a project, using her position to siphon money into a personal account. I scroll through the thread, my pulse quickening. There it is, proof that she's been hiding more than just an affair. She's been stealing. Quietly, subtly, but enough that if anyone at her company knew, she'd lose her job. Probably worse. This is my leverage. This is how I'll end her. That night, as we sit across from each other at dinner, I feel a strange sense of calm settle over me. The pregnancy, the affair, the financial scandal, it's all swirling in my head, but I finally have control over it. I know what I have to do. She talks about her day, about her upcoming trip, her voice smooth and confident, as though everything is normal. I smile, nod, play the role of the doting husband, all the while knowing that I have everything I need to destroy her. Later, as she sleeps beside me, her hand resting on her stomach again, I feel nothing. The child, whether mine or his, doesn't matter. I know that now. This has gone beyond a simple affair. She's been lying to me for years, building a life of deception that reaches far deeper than I ever imagined. I get out of bed quietly, my bare feet soft against the floor as I walk to my office. The house is silent, the only sound the hum of the refrigerator downstairs. I sit at my desk, staring at the folder on my laptop filled with everything I've collected on her. The texts, the emails, the pictures, the financial evidence, the tools to bring her down. My fingers hover over the keyboard, ready to send it all to her HR department to expose her for everything she is. I hesitate for a moment, thinking of the fallout, how her life will crumble, how Eric will be dragged down with her. But there's no going back now. I hit send. I watch from a distance, the glow of my phone casting shadows on my face. The notification is almost instantaneous. Message delivered. I close the email, lean back in my chair, and exhale slowly. There's no going back now. It's a quiet satisfaction, the kind that settles in your bones. Eric's wife, Jenna, will open her email soon, probably in the morning when she's sorting through her inbox. She'll find everything, the photos, the texts, the emails, the proof. The fallout won't be immediate, but it'll be swift enough. Jenna will confront Eric and his world will crumble. Divorce. Custody battles, legal fees, all the pretty pieces of his life will break apart and he won't be able to stop it. But that's only half the plan. I pull up Emily's HR directory next. The investigation I started with the anonymous tip was just the first wave. There are whispers at her office already, I'm sure. But this is the kill shot. I forward the emails and texts between her and Eric to their HR department, attaching a subject line that'll make any corporate HR flinch. Inappropriate workplace relationship. Immediate attention required. I click send and sit back, the weight of finality sinking in. Emily's carefully constructed life is unraveling in real time, and she has no idea. Not yet. The next morning, I'm sipping coffee at the kitchen table, waiting. It's almost a ritual now, watching her before the storm hits. She walks in, her hair wet from the shower, a towel wrapped around her shoulders as she moves through the house with that practiced ease. I glance at her, the sight of her normalcy almost laughable. She's smiling, oblivious. I wonder when she'll notice, when the cracks will start to show. She grabs her phone off the counter, checking messages, probably from Eric. She glances at me, and I force a casual smile, lifting my mug in acknowledgement. She smiles back, but it's half-hearted, distracted. She's already thinking about him, about how they'll sneak off later. I feel that cold, familiar burn at the thought, but I smother it quickly. Not much longer now. Emily kisses me on the cheek as she heads out the door. Another day at the office where everything will fall apart. I don't kiss her back. I get the call around noon. It's Jenna, Eric's wife. Her voice is shaky, controlled, but I can hear the tremor beneath it. "Who is this?" she demands, her words clipped, barely holding together. I stay silent, letting her stew. She's called me 3 times already, and I ignored the first 2. She'll break soon enough. You sent me those emails. I need to know why. I can hear the desperation. It's a tone I recognize, the same one I felt creeping into my own voice weeks ago when I was still searching for answers. "I thought you deserved to know the truth," I say calmly. You weren't going to hear it from him. A long pause on the other end. How do you know them? Her voice is brittle now, cracking at the edges. Who are you? Just someone who knows how it feels to be lied to. Before she can respond, I hang up. It's not about her. Jenna's pain is collateral damage, another piece in the puzzle that Emily and Eric built, thinking no one would notice. Now they'll both pay for it. That afternoon, I get the text from Emily. Coming home early, something's going on at work, we need to talk. I smile at the phone, imagining the chaos she's walking into at the office. The hushed whispers, HR calling her into a room with uncomfortable smiles, pretending this is just a routine investigation while they already know the truth. Emily's probably panicking by now, her mind racing to figure out what's happening, how much they know. I've already drained most of the money from our joint accounts, rerouted our investments, funneled everything into accounts she can't touch. Her credit cards are flagged for suspicious activity. By the time she realizes what's happening, it'll be too late. She'll have nothing. I wait for her to come home. When she walks through the front door, I can tell it's begun. Her face is flushed, her hands trembling as she drops her bag on the floor. She's unraveling before my eyes, and she doesn't even know the full extent of it yet. They pulled me into HR, she stammers, her voice tight with panic. Someone sent them emails. They have everything. I don't know what to do. She's pacing now, her eyes wild. Nick, they know about Eric. They're talking about an investigation. They're suspending me. They want me to leave the office until... She stops, finally meeting my eyes. Until what? I ask, my voice calm, too calm. Emily stares at me, her panic morphing into confusion. What's going on? I set my mug down slowly, deliberately. The kitchen feels too quiet, the ticking of the clock loud in the silence between us. I stand up and walk toward her, watching her flinch slightly as I get closer. You didn't think I'd find out, did you? I say, my voice low, steady. Her eyes widen, fear creeping in now. She's starting to understand, but she's not there yet. Nick, She steps back, shaking her head. It's not what you think. Oh, it's exactly what I think, I cut her off, my voice sharp. You've been lying to me for months, maybe years. But you were too careless, too comfortable. I take another step toward her, and she backs up again, her back hitting the kitchen counter. I know about Eric. I know about the affair, the hotel, the emails. Her face pales and she opens her mouth to say something, but no words come out. I know everything, Emily. She freezes, her breath catching in her throat. She looks at me like I'm a stranger, like she's never seen me before. Maybe she hasn't. I step back, watching her crumble, the weight of what's happening crashing down on her all at once. She presses her hand to her stomach, and for a second, I feel a twinge of something. Pity, maybe, but it's fleeting. Nick, I'm sorry, she whispers, tears welling up in her eyes. I never meant for this to happen, No, I say, my voice hard. You don't get to apologize now. Not after what you did. I turn away, walking toward the living room, needing space between us. The anger that's been simmering inside me for weeks finally breaks the surface. I hear her following me, her footsteps frantic. Please, Nick, we can fix this. We can still fix this? I spin around, my voice rising. You think we can fix this? You've destroyed everything. Everything we had, everything we built together. My voice cracks slightly, but I steady it, forcing the coldness back into my tone. And now you're going to lose it all. She sobs, dropping to her knees, her face buried in her hands. I watch her for a moment, my chest tight with something I can't name. I thought this would feel better, watching her break, watching her realize what she's lost. But there's no satisfaction. Just emptiness. I'll leave, she says through her tears. I'll leave, and you'll never have to see me again. Just, please, Nick, don't do this. I shake my head slowly. It's already done. Her sobs deepen, and I turn away, walking toward the front door. I don't look back as I grab my keys, as I step outside into the cool evening air. The sun is setting, casting long shadows across the lawn. I can still hear her crying inside, but it feels distant, like a memory fading away. I get into the car and drive. I don't know where I'm going, but anywhere is better than here. Better than the wreckage I've left behind. Emily has nothing now. Eric's wife will ruin him. The HR investigation will destroy her career, and the financial ruin will leave her with no way out. She'll have the child, whether it's mine or Eric's, I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter anymore. As I drive, the weight of it all settles in. I've won. I've taken everything from her. But as the miles stretch out in front of me, a hollow feeling settles in my chest. I wanted this, needed it. But the satisfaction I thought I'd feel is gone, replaced by a quiet, gnawing emptiness. I've destroyed her, but I've destroyed myself too. The car hums beneath me as I drive into the night, the road blurring into darkness. There's no going back now, not for any of us. The house is silent when I return. I stand in the doorway, the keys cold in my hand, the weight of everything pressing down on me. The air feels heavy, oppressive. The same house where we once laughed, argued, made plans, now it's just a shell, a reminder of everything that's gone wrong. Emily's not here. She's gone. I don't know where, and I don't care. There's a numbness settling inside me, the kind that comes after a storm, the aftermath. I should feel triumphant, but all I feel is this hollow space, like I've burned everything down, and now there's nothing left. I walk through the living room, past the photos we hung on the walls, the remnants of our life together. Our wedding picture, the trip to Italy, a family Christmas with her parents. They don't mean anything anymore. I want to tear them down, smash the glass, but I don't. I just walk past them, as if they're already erased. I sit on the couch, my body sinking into the cushions. The silence is thick, suffocating, but I let it wrap around me. I don't turn on the TV, don't look at my phone. I just sit, staring at the wall, my mind racing through everything that's happened. I've destroyed her. And Eric. Jenna's probably tearing into him right now, threatening to take the kids, the house, everything. He deserves it. Emily deserves what's coming too. The HR investigation, the ruined career, the financial devastation. I've left her with nothing, just like I promised. But now, sitting here, alone, it feels different. The satisfaction I thought I'd feel has slipped through my fingers. Instead, there's just this cold emptiness. I glance at my phone. No messages, no calls. It's like the world has gone quiet, and I'm the only one left standing in the ashes. I remember the look on her face as I walked out, the way her voice cracked when she begged for forgiveness. I could have stayed, could have screamed, could have given her the fight she expected, but I didn't. I couldn't. I just walked away. Maybe that's what she deserved, to be left there, broken, without closure. Maybe it's what I deserve too. Days pass, and the emptiness only deepens. Emily hasn't contacted me, not that I expected her to. I heard from a mutual friend that she's staying with her sister for now. The HR investigation must have gone exactly how I planned because she's been fired. No one's saying it outright, but it's all there, between the lines of whispers and social media posts. She's ruined. Eric's marriage didn't survive the fallout either. Jenna filed for divorce immediately after receiving my package, and word has it that Eric's trying to hold on to his job amid the scandal. He's probably scrambling to keep his career afloat, pretending that he can still salvage something from the wreckage. Meanwhile, I sit in this house going through the motions. Every day is the same. I wake up, make coffee, shower, go to work, and come home to the same oppressive silence. I thought this was what I wanted, to take everything from her, to make her feel the way she made me feel. But now that I've done it, I'm starting to wonder what I've really gained. The nights are the worst. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. My mind replays everything, the moment I found out about the affair, the cold, calculated steps I took to destroy her life. I think about the baby too, the child she's carrying. Is it mine? Is it Eric's? It doesn't matter, not really. I've already distanced myself from the idea of being a father. I've distanced myself from everything. But the thought lingers, gnawing at me in the dark. What if it is mine? What kind of father would I be knowing I did this? Knowing that I burned everything down without a second thought? The idea twists in my gut, making me nauseous. One night, I can't take it anymore. I grab my phone, scrolling through the contacts until I find her name. My thumb hovers over the call button, but I can't do it. What would I even say? That I regret it, that I'm sorry? I'm not sorry, not for what she did to me, but the consequences, those are starting to weigh on me. I toss the phone aside and bury my face in my hands, trying to shake the thoughts away. It doesn't work. A week later, I see her. I'm sitting in my car outside the grocery store, about to head inside when I spot her walking out. She looks thinner, more tired than I've ever seen her. Her eyes are hollow, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. She's carrying a small grocery bag, and for a second, she looks like a stranger. But then I notice her hand resting on her stomach, her fingers absent-mindedly brushing over the curve of it. The baby. I freeze, my heart slamming against my chest. I didn't expect to see her like this. Didn't expect the sight of her to hit me this hard. She doesn't notice me, just walks to her car, her head down, shoulders slumped. She looks defeated. I should feel something, satisfaction, victory, something. But I don't. I just feel empty. I don't move as she pulls out of the parking lot, disappearing into the traffic. I sit there for a long time, staring at the spot where her car was, wondering how it all came to this. I've won. I've taken everything from her. So why do I feel like I've lost something too? The next few days blur together. I throw myself into work, trying to distract myself from the gnawing emptiness inside me. I avoid going home for as long as I can, staying late at the office, grabbing drinks with coworkers, anything to fill the hours. But no matter what I do, it's always there, lurking beneath the surface. One night I come home later than usual, the weight of the day pressing down on me. I collapse onto the couch, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this is it. If this is what my life is now, an endless cycle of emptiness, punctuated by fleeting moments of distraction. I think about calling Emily again. I think about the baby, about what it would mean to be involved, to reach out. But every time I get close, I pull back. I've gone too far. There's no coming back from what I've done. I sit up, grabbing the stack of mail on the coffee table, flipping through it mindlessly. Bills, ads, nothing important. But then I see it, a letter from our lawyer, the divorce papers. It's been weeks since I started the process, and now it's here, official. I tear open the envelope, staring at the paperwork, my name and Emily's printed neatly at the top. All I have to do is sign. I grab a pen, my hand shaking slightly as I hover over the signature line. This is it, the final step, the end. But I don't sign, not yet. I stare at the papers, my mind racing. I wanted this. I wanted to destroy her, to make her pay, and I did. But now sitting here, the weight of it all presses down on me. I've burned everything down, and for what? The pen slips from my hand, clattering onto the table. I sit back, my head in my hands, the realization settling in. I wanted revenge, but I didn't think about what came after. I didn't think about the emptiness that would follow. A few days later, I get a call from a mutual friend. Emily's been admitted to the hospital. It's nothing serious, just a checkup for the baby. But hearing it stirs something inside me, a feeling I haven't let myself acknowledge. The baby. Whether it's mine or not, it's still part of this mess. And I'm responsible for it in some way. The thought gnaws at me, and I can't shake it. I don't go to the hospital. I can't. But I sit with the knowledge, letting it weigh on me. I thought I could walk away from this, that I could leave her in the wreckage and move on. But it's not that simple. It never was. I walk through the house, my footsteps echoing in the emptiness. The divorce papers are still on the table, unsigned. I don't know what I'm waiting for. Closure, maybe. But closure doesn't exist. Not in this. I stand in the doorway of what used to be our bedroom, staring at the bed we once shared. The memories come rushing back, uninvited. The nights we spent talking about the future, the plans we made, the promises we broke. All of it feels distant now, like someone else's life. I sit on the edge of the bed, my hands resting in my lap. I thought I could control this. that I could burn it all down and come out unscathed. But the truth is, I'm just as ruined as she is. I glance at the divorce papers one last time, then stand up, walking out of the room. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I can't stay here. I've destroyed everything, including myself. And now, all that's left is the emptiness. I leave the house, the keys still in my pocket, the weight of them pressing against my leg like a reminder of everything I've held onto for too long. The cool evening air brushes against my face as I step onto the street, the quiet hum of the city in the distance. I don't know where I'm going. I don't care. I just need to move, to escape the suffocating silence that's been following me since the day I tore everything apart. I walk aimlessly, my footsteps echoing on the pavement. The sky is dark, the moon a thin sliver barely visible between the clouds. I pass houses lit up from the inside, warm glow spilling out from behind drawn curtains. Lives still intact, families still whole. For a moment, I wonder what it would have been like if I had let it go, if I had chosen to confront her, to try and fix things instead of tearing everything down. But the thought fades as quickly as it comes, replaced by the cold reality of what I've done. Emily is gone. Eric's life is in shambles. The child, whether mine or not, will grow up in the wreckage of what I destroyed. And here I am, walking through the ruins of my own choices, wondering if I was ever in control at all. I stop at a park bench, sitting down, the cool metal seeping through my jacket. The street is quiet, just the occasional car passing by. I lean back, staring up at the night sky, my mind racing through everything. I thought revenge would bring me peace. I thought it would give me the closure I needed, the justice I deserved. But now, sitting here, I realize how naive that was. Revenge doesn't bring peace. It doesn't erase the betrayal. It doesn't fill the emptiness left behind when trust is broken. It only deepens it, sharpens it, until it's all that's left. I close my eyes, exhaling slowly. What did I expect? That after everything, I could just walk away, clean and free? That I could burn her life to the ground and emerge unscathed? The truth is, I was never free. I've been chained to this anger, to this need for control since the moment I found out about the affair. And now all I'm left with is the ashes of a life I can't go back to. Emily's face flashes in my mind, her eyes red from crying, her hands trembling as she begged for forgiveness. I can still hear her voice, the way it cracked when she said my name, the desperation in it. I thought I could stay cold, detached. I thought I could walk away and feel nothing. But the truth is, I feel everything. Her pain, her loss, and my own. I take out my phone, staring at the screen. Her number is still there, at the top of my contacts. I never deleted it. My thumb hovers over it again, the same hesitation I felt for weeks pulling at me. I could call her. I could try to fix this. But what would be the point? There's nothing left to fix. I shove the phone back into my pocket, leaning forward, my elbows resting on my knees. It's too late. I've gone too far, and there's no going back. Even if I called, even if we talked, the damage is done. I destroyed everything we had. I made sure of that. I think about the child again. The weight of that thought presses down on me harder than anything else. I've spent so long distancing myself from it, convincing myself that it didn't matter, that it was just another consequence of her betrayal. But now, sitting here, I can't escape the truth. What if it's mine? That question haunts me, twisting in my gut like a knife. If it's mine, what kind of father am I? What kind of future have I left for this child? A father who destroyed its mother's life, who walked away without a second thought. A father who let his own anger consume him until there was nothing left but bitterness and regret. I run a hand through my hair, pulling at the strands in frustration. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep running from the consequences of my choices. I thought I wanted to punish her, to make her feel the same pain I felt, but all I've done is punish myself. And now, I have to live with that. The control I thought I had, it was never real. It was an illusion, a way to justify the destruction I caused. I thought if I could control the narrative, If I could be the one to tear her life apart, I would come out stronger. But now, I see that control is just another lie we tell ourselves to avoid facing the truth. The truth is, I'm just as lost as she is. I stand up, my legs feeling heavy beneath me as I start walking again. The streets are empty now, the quiet settling over the neighborhood like a blanket. I don't know where I'm going, but I keep moving, one foot in front of the other, trying to outrun the thoughts that are chasing me. But no matter how far I walk, I can't escape them. I can't escape the truth of what I've done. I stop in front of a small cafe, the lights still on inside. I push the door open, the bell chiming as I step inside. The place is nearly empty, just a couple sitting by the window, their heads close together, whispering. I avoid looking at them, heading straight for the counter. The barista smiles at me, but I barely register it. I order a coffee, my voice flat, mechanical. As I wait, I glance around the cafe, my eyes landing on the couple again. They're laughing now, their hands intertwined on the table. For a moment, I feel a pang of something. Envy, maybe, or regret, but I push it away, focusing on the coffee in front of me. I take the cup and sit by the window, staring out at the empty street. The warmth of the coffee seeps into my hands, but it does nothing to thaw the coldness inside me. I sip it slowly, letting the minutes tick by in silence. I don't know how long I sit there, lost in my thoughts. The cafe starts to empty out, the barista cleaning up behind the counter, getting ready to close. I should leave, but I can't seem to make myself move. I think about Emily again. I think about everything I've done, everything I've lost. And for the first time, I let myself feel it, the full weight of my actions, the devastation I've caused. I wanted revenge, but what I got was ruin. Not just hers, mine. I finish the coffee, the cup empty in my hands. I stare at it for a moment, then set it down on the table, the clink of the ceramic against wood louder than it should be in the quiet cafe. The barista gives me a gentle smile as I leave, the bell chiming again as the door closes behind me. I step out into the night, the cool air wrapping around me like a shroud. The streets are empty now, just me and the silence. I start walking again, the sound of my footsteps the only noise in the darkness. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if it matters. All I know is that I need to keep moving, keep walking, keep putting distance between myself and the wreckage I've left behind. But no matter how far I go, the weight of it follows me. The choices I made, the people I hurt, they're all there, haunting me, reminding me that revenge doesn't bring redemption. It only brings ruin. I stop at the corner, the streetlights casting long shadows on the pavement. I stand there for a moment, staring down the empty road, my mind swirling with thoughts I can't escape. I thought I could walk away from this, but the truth is, I'll never be free of it. I'll never be free of the choices I made, the destruction I caused. And now, I have to live with that. I turn away from the road, heading in the opposite direction, my footsteps slow and measured. I don't know where I'm going, but I keep walking, into the night, into the unknown. I've burned everything down, and now all that's left is the ashes.